President. Well, over the past year, there's been a lot of significant discussion and debate around women, how women are treated, how they're paid, educated, how we better equip them when it comes to consent, accepting appropriate behaviour and rejecting what's not. There's been recent discussions about love bombing and the dangers that come with that, how to see red flags, how to be confident in dealing with them, and how to walk away from destructive and dangerous situations. However, when you think about all the work that's been done and the discussion, for far too long, this discussion has been accompanied by an intellectually bereft and insulting discussion that somehow Labor good, Liberal bad, that Liberal women are somehow just here to make up the numbers. Or, as I've recently been told, I'm just making the sandwiches for the Morrison boys. And my Conservative colleagues, particularly Senator Hume and Senator Henderson, we are nothing but crumb maidens, a term that I actually had to look up and is deeply misogynistic, and it is used by both men and women of the left to attack Conservative women. So today I thought it was an important day to set the record straight. So I'm going to let you know who has actually invested in women's health, safety and security, and who talks a big game but has never, ever walked the walk. So for those of you interested in facts, not smears, not political point scoring, not self-promotion, I would urge you to watch this speech today, and not ones that are soaking in personal animosity. So I'll start by acknowledging that Labor did put in place the first action plan of the current national plan with an investment of $86 million. And whilst those on the left will cheer this investment and claim that Labor is committed to this issue, in reality this paltry amount pales in comparison, pales to the $3.4 billion in the Women's Budget Statement 2021-22. That's right, $86 million from Labor to $3.4 billion from the Coalition. But the Morrison government's not only putting real money where its mouth is. For the first time in parliamentary history, this government is demonstrating leadership and action in our commitment to improving the lives of Australian women, with 4 ministers now in this space. We acknowledge that a minister for women is simply just not enough. So the Prime Minister has appointed additional ministers, a Minister for Women's Safety, a Minister for Women's Economic Security, and an Assistant Minister for Women. And we acknowledge that too many people, and particularly women in this country, experience domestic violence. And we lose too many women each and every week at the hands of their partner. And whilst those opposite like to talk a big game, what we do know is they've got absolutely no policy ideas and have committed no funding whatsoever to prevention in this area. So on this side of the chamber, we know that providing support to women and their children who experience domestic violence, and I'm going to go through some of these things later on, but we know what's actually more important is changing the culture, changing the conversation so domestic violence and violence against women doesn't occur in the first place. The success of our Stop It at the Start campaign is changing not only attitudes but lives. More than $50 million has been spent on changing attitudes around respect, a campaign that is recognised by 3 in 5 adults, encouraging more respectful relationships. These campaigns are working, and in anyone's mind, 3 out of 5 adults, 60% recognition of a campaign is success. And we know, excuse me, that by changing attitudes, we change lives and we change the violence towards women before it even begins. But we know that there's lots more to do, and that's why we're determined to continue to deliver for Australian women and their families. So I want to go through a couple of programs, and I may have to actually come back for adjournment, because I think once you start to go through them, you'll see how many programs we have actually put together and funded and initiated to support women across a vast range of areas. So We have the next national plan to end violence against women, and as I said, $3.4 billion in the last budget statement. We have a new national partnership agreement, which is up to $260 million to bolster frontline family and domestic and sexual violence services. We have an escaping violence payment of almost $165 million to help women who need to leave a violent relationship. We have funded a 24/7 hotline in 1-800-RESPECT. We've provided 780 safe places for women and children to seek safety when they're leaving a domestic violence situation. We have frontline services with $130 million to provide that urgent assistance to state and territories when they need assistance in stepping up. We have over $400 million allocated to legal services to help women get out of these relationships. The roadmap for respect, obviously stop it at the start, but there is more than $64 additional million going into the government's roadmap, which is about preventing sexual harassment in Australian workplaces. We want the Respect at Work report and the recommendations in there to how we create safer workplaces for everybody. We have another action plan with $340 million that will help to reduce violence against women and children. But we're also focused on the economic security because we know a lot of women can't leave because of the economic constraints that are put on them by a partner and that form of abuse. And that statement around economic security is $1.9 billion. This is real money. Again, 86 million the Labor Party put in, 86 million. For economic security, 1.9 billion. Something that no one opposite has ever considered to be an issue. But I guess when you're just getting paid by the unions, you don't have to think about how real women need funding and support to get out of destructive relationships. So we have childcare subsidies that we've boosted to assure women can look after their children when they have to get out of these relationships. We have boosting female founders, which ensures women that have an entrepreneurial spirit are able to access that and get support. We have National Careers Institute partnership with over $12 million. We have an early stage social enterprise foundation, $13.9 million. We have a career revive program because we know women take career breaks when they have children. Sometimes they need a bit of assistance to re-enter the workforce. We've also assisted with mediation so that they can get help when it needs to come to distributing property between divorcing or separating partners. We have a superannuation guarantee threshold. We've removed the $400 per month threshold so that employees don't have to pay the superannuation guarantee. We have a family home guarantee, and this is actually one of my favourite initiatives, that allows single mothers to purchase a home with just 2% deposit. The government will guarantee the rest. We know home ownership is one of the safest ways to ensure that this increasing rate of homelessness in women over 50 doesn't continue. And so we are committed to ensuring as many women as possible, and particularly single mothers, get that support to get back into the housing market. We have economic security statements and reporting frameworks, all based around supporting women. We have leadership and development programs. We have academies for enterprising girls, National Women's Alliance, to help create policy that supports women into the future. There's also Indigenous girls' academies, and we're boosting the next generation of women by supporting them into STEM. Girls are continuing to exceed and excel in the industry, in the environment of STEM, and we are providing up to 500 industry-based co-funded university scholarships, but not only for girls that are finishing school, for women who are looking to retrain and re-enter the workforce. We've got women in sport. We've put $12 million to Football Australia for women in sport. We're significantly working on lowering the gender pay gap. We've addressed gender balance on Australian boards. And Coalition of Women in Parliament, we have 8 women hold 33% of cabinet positions. This is actually the highest number of women in cabinet ever. So all of this that we hear, somehow the Morrison government, bad for women, you guys just don't get it. And I'm a little bit over it because on top of that, we are investing in so much in health. And again, I said, I'm going to have to probably come back at adjournment because I cannot possibly go through every initiative that Minister Hunt has funded. But I do want to give him a particular shout out today for the $2 million that's now gone to ovarian cancer today as we acknowledge Ovarian Cancer Month. A cancer that is insidious, that takes far too many women and is almost impossible to detect until it's too late. This is real money, real investment, real support for women.
Senator O'Neill.
Thank you very much, Acting Deputy President. Well, it's stating